What's up, beautiful souls? It is me, LC, and I am grateful as always to come and spend a little bit of this Winning Wednesday with all of you. Whether you show up now live or whether you come along later, man, let me just tell you how grateful I am for you. How grateful I am that all of you have been with me on this journey to self, this journey to self-love, this journey to acceptance, and this journey and this path to healing, this recovered path. Because what is the truth, man? The truth is that in active addiction, we're separated and misaligned from our true divine self. And we feel that. We feel it through trauma. We feel it through, limited belief systems that are deep inside of us that we aren't even aware are at play every day in our lives. And it takes this amazing thing called active addiction sometimes to bring our backs against the wall and have us come out fighting for our lives, fighting for ourselves, fighting for the recovery of this life that we deserve to live in a way that creates happiness and joy within, and that allows then that joy to permeate out into the world, into the universe, into other lives and people that are suffering in some of the same ways that you have, that I have. And that, my friends, is called passion. So for this Winning Wednesday, I want to ask you a question. Are you moving along in your path and feel like you're doing just everything right, and yet you feel like you keep coming against these invisible obstacles that maybe you feel like you just need to do more, or what you're doing is not enough, or what you're doing is not right, and that there's always more for you to do? Well, I want to tell you, I know this personally because I go through it and I've gone through it. And in some ways, in some areas, I'm still going through it. So I want to address this with you today because I always let you in on the same things that I'm learning about, the same processes that I'm doing, in the hopes that you can take those processes, make them your own, and hopefully they help you. And if they don't serve you, don't just toss them away, because you never know who you may run across in this world that could benefit from that very piece of wisdom and information that you know. So the topic we're going to talk about today, self-love. And hold up, fellas, before you click off because you think, wait, that's way too feminine for me. Let me let you in on a little secret. You deserve and need self-love in your life as well. It's not always about doing more. It's not always about going the extra mile. It's about believing that you are worth the accomplishments that you already have accomplished, the goals and dreams and plans you have in your life. Because if you don't believe you're worth it, and you don't know how to really connect in with self and understand that you're doing enough, then you'll never get to those goals and you'll always feel a void. So if you guys and gals and all humans are ready, then you know I'm ready. Let's get to this Winning Wednesday. What's up, love warriors, man? Got some beautiful folks in the house this morning. Anthony Brown, my brother, my pal, Mary Huffman, just an amazing warrior. Jen Brownlee, another amazing warrior. Tammy P, my inspiration in the house. Love you, Tammy P. Yeah, man, It is so true. Yvonne, Max, man, I love all of you that are here. You'll never know how much each and every one of you touch my life on a daily basis, whether I'm in touch with you right now or not, whether I've ever even put my arms around you. You have made great differences in my life. And for everyone who comes along, man, and engages in this content, I want you to know, and I hope that you feel that it comes directly from my heart. Because if I can turn a mess like me around to live a life that is fulfilling, that is full of passion, that is not filled with self-loathing and suicide attempts and overdoses and just praying for life to hurry up, the suffering to be ended. If I can do that, then what I'm telling each and every person within the sound of my voice is that you can do it too. And I'm going to tell you, I have been a victim. Well, not a victim. I have allowed myself to victimize myself with the same things and emotions that I was talking about in the very beginning intro to this video, which is I'm doing all the right things. Why are bad things still happening? What's the point? Why can't I seem to get to where it is that I'm going? And it was really, really diving into this whole thing called self-love, and I think for our male population, self-love is a very feminine topic because it involves self and love, right? So it does sound feminine, but what it really truly is a human topic because we're all in great need, and we can't. It's like you can't paint rotten wood and expect that it's going to hold itself together. You may be able to paint over some of the rot, but what I find, and since I'm a painter, what I find is that the moment you touch that really rotten wood with the paint, it just crumbles and falls apart, and it comes off on your brush or your roller or whatever it is you're using. And, we can paint ourselves, the outside of ourselves with great motivation, beautiful quotes. I mean, just outstanding prayers. But if we are not underneath feeling like we are deserving of those things, there's a disconnect. And then because we are human beings and we are not always geared or programmed to go deeper within, we just let those things sit on the surface. It becomes like oil and water. It's never going to mix. You can shake it up sometimes and it can, kind of come together, but as it sits, it will disconnect. And that's what's happening. But we externally begin to blame outwardly, or we'll blame inwardly. We'll say, well, I'm not doing enough. I'm not saying my prayers right. I'm not meditating right. I'm not doing what the gurus say right, even though I'm taking every step they say. I'm doing everything I'm being told to do. And all we end up doing is coming back into self and saying, I must not be good enough. I must not be deserving. We can want all day long in the most desperate emotion possible. But if underneath there, in that deep subconscious place, we don't believe we deserve it, we cannot see it. And if by chance we do see it, we will not hold on to it, because those underneath those subconscious, underconscious thinking beliefs are what's driving our life. We've talked about this extensively. You can, at this point, I assume most of you are above 16, maybe not Tammy P and Vonnie Max, because I know they are 16 and will always be 16. Beautiful ladies. But anyone who's been driving over a year, 2 years, 3 years, we can multitask. Not saying it's safe, and I'm surely not condoning it, but it's what we do because our subconscious has already been programmed to take on this task, to put a 1-ton weapon in our hands and under our bums, and we can navigate that while taking a phone call, while, messing with the radio, while looking at scenery, while, disciplining our children in the back seat, while fighting with our spouse. We can do this because we have done it in repetition so many times that it has gone deeper and deeper within us. So we don't have to consciously think about into driving, look at nothing else, driving. Well, we got to understand that the repetition that we have heard in our younger days, I can't begin to assume what your childhood was like. I can only know what my childhood was like. And while there were people involved with me that loved me so much, they still came from their own programming, which was different in many different generations. And little by little, we evolve each generation. But so many things stay deep inside. If you learn very early that you're not worth 5 pieces of candy, only one, that makes an impression upon a young person. They don't have an adult mind to process anything other than that. They don't process both of my parents work and we can barely get by. So I'm grateful for this one piece of candy. If you ask a child, go get what you want, they will come back with everything that they want. That's all they know how to do is desire, to want. It's these little moments in our lifetime that have caused us in those certain moments to form belief systems. And those things get put down and they reoccur in everyday life. And because we're so used to finding things externally to us, we think that the answer to that void, the answer to that space that you can't seem to just get through, is do more. When really, more than likely, it's do less and love you more. And so we talk about this. People that love themselves, respect and love and cherish themselves, they don't put poison in their body to get through another day. They are hurting. They may have even fell into it by getting connected with the wrong group of people, say in middle school or high school. And we say, why? Because they needed acceptance. And maybe they weren't being accepted at home. Maybe they weren't being accepted by the good kids in school and all of the other broken kids who rallied up together, said, we'll accept you. And you fall in to doing what's there because we have basic human needs. And one of them is to be accepted by our peers. One of them is human to human connection. That's why this COVID is so hard for people, because it is a basic human need. We look at research of prisoners in solitary confinement, and I can tell you, I've been there myself and spent a lot of time there. And I never really understood what it meant to have one-on-one human interaction with someone on a daily basis. Just human touch is a necessity. We deeply need that. And so it doesn't really matter how we get to the place of active addiction. What we got to see is the root. And the root comes from that lack of self-love. If I do this, I'll be good enough to this group. I fell into using that way. Many of you know my story. 11 years old, I began drinking alcohol because my father, who I'd only met when I was 8, thought that, that was part of getting to spend time with him seeing me as someone worthy to spend time with him, made me like him, made me be like him. And therefore, I also realized the double-edged sword is, oh, so I get to spend time with my father and be near him and accepted by him. I also get to escape the pain of the abuse that I was going through daily at home. It was a win-win. I was an overweight kid. I had been being sexually, emotionally, and physically abused since I was 5 years old. There was a lot going on. And so acceptance will take us to many places, down many dark roads. So we get it, right? We get it, LC. We guilt to self-love. So how in the world do we begin to change that? Well, we got to begin to change that the same way we developed that lack of self-love in the first place: repetition. Instead of asking those questions, those disempowering questions of why me? Why does this keep happening to me? Why do I keep attracting the same type of person to date? Why do I keep attracting all of these, negative happenings in my life? We can change those disempowering questions and make them empowering questions. What am I to learn from this? What would it look like for me to be the whole and healthy person that attracts other whole and healthy people? What does a whole and healthy me look like? It happens when we take that minute in the mirror each day, once a day, mirror work, and we speak directly to that human being that's staring back at us, the most important human being in our lives, because it's what you and I think about ourselves that matters most in the world, because that's where our point of gravitation is. We will gravitate to others that feel the same way we do, and they can sniff it out. They can sniff it out, and many times you'll find yourself in a group of people that will have much different intentions for you and your friendship than you have of them, and you'll get hurt. And so we start changing those disempowering questions to empowering questions. We start asking ourselves, what activities am I doing in my life that really serve me and make me feel joyful or good or pleasant or like I'm growing? And which ones am I doing for the approval of someone else? What goals am I going for in my life that are truly my goals? Or are they goals that someone else has set, or that I think I'll be accepted by them if I achieve? Do I feel like I've got to have 1,000 views to feel validated, to feel like my message matters? At one time I did. True that at one time I thought the more people that heard a message from my heart meant that that message was good. Really, every true and passionate message given from your heart to another's heart, whether it is one person, 1,000, or 1,000,000, is perfectly right on time. Many times I have stepped back from this arena just to make sure that I don't fall over into that line of ego, so that I make sure that I stay passionate with you all. And I don't mind showing up here in the middle of my mess, because it doesn't take away from my message. In fact, it lets us all know. And it took a lot for me to do this. I'm not going to lie to you. It lets us all know that we are allowed to show up in the world right in the middle of our mess. We don't have to have our makeup perfect. We don't have to have our beards and goatees shaved perfect. We don't have to show up in the world perfect. We can show up human. Because I'm going to tell you guys, I am in a divine storm right now. And how I respond and the healing that I take from it determines its outcome. Everything that we experience is according to our perception of it. Now, you can say us losing our apartment through no fault of our own, being forced out and pushed out, having our advocate abandon us right in the middle. You could say that that's very victimizing. But you see, we prayed and believed for a new start. You know what was happening though? We were working every day, we were coming home, and we were pushing it off till tomorrow. We'll look for something else tomorrow. We'll take that scary step tomorrow. And when it's time for you to move, you can best believe that your divine source of every creation on earth, including you, will move you. And you can either make one of two choices in that process. I am a victim. I am empowered. This always happens to me. This is happening for my good. Why me? What can I learn here? What is the best possible outcome? Do I need to know every step? Do I need to have the path laid out for me before I'll take that step? Because if so, that don't got nothing to do with faith. That's very carnal. And of course, as human beings, we want to see the map. Who wants to go get in your car and go on a trip with somebody when they know the destination? They're the only ones, and they only tell you turn by turn by turn how to get there. It makes you crazy, right? Sometimes learning how to love yourself, because divinity is within you. And you can't say that you love an external source if you don't yet love the internal source. External gives us a place to look. Internal brings us to responsibility and accountability, because the real questions happen here, not out here, here. And for those prayers to be answered, we've got to release ourselves from our perceived manifestation of that, how it should be answered. We have to be willing to not only say we live in faith, but to truly walk in faith. And these last few months, I have really gone within. Many people know I've kind of stepped back from things and disconnected a bit, not because I don't love people or not for anything sinister, only to really answer these questions for myself. If I say live by faith to you, it sounds great, sounds motivating, sounds inspiring. But if I'm not doing it here, then it will not sink in there. There is a difference between information and wisdom. Wisdom comes from experience. Wisdom comes in the heart. Information just sits on the surface. And we are flooded all day, every day in this age of information with more and more and more and more information. Yet, how much wisdom are we pulling in from the information that is available in our own lives? And remember, failures are practice for success. Failures are optimal learning moments. And it just comes in. How do we ask our questions? Remember that your mind, my mind, our minds are like Google. It's a search engine. When you ask it a question, it starts bringing up many different things for you to choose from. And just like Google, when you ask a question, it doesn't bring you what you necessarily want to see. It has no attachment to what's or knowledge of what's positive or negative in your world. It gives you what you ask for. It's the same way with your mind, vibration, and your divinity. When you ask your mind the question, it begins to give you the evidence. So if you're asking disempowering questions, your mind has no connection or feelings about answering those questions with more evidence for that to show up. If you are desperate on your knees for this healing and yet you don't believe that you are healthy, happy, and whole and that you deserve that, many times we'll use statements like, well, this is my karma. At the same time, we're vibrating with desperation and lack versus vibrating directly with health and well-being. How can I conquer this sickness? How can I overcome this sickness? How can I connect with my body and learn about where this may be coming from? How can I survive and thrive and pass it on? Those just feel better. Check in with your body in these moments. Your body is keeping the score of everything you can take your mind off of. Many of you know that, my wife had started having these heart palpitations, which this slight heart attack she had at first saved her life. It gave me my wife back, right? In that moment, you have fear. But as she started having all of these, started having these things again recently, as she's in the midst of it, she's resisting it. She's saying, I don't want to go through this. I don't want to go through this. This is scary. I don't want to do this. I don't want to go through this. God, please take this away. You can feel, just like I just felt that in my body, you can feel the disempowering feeling of that. And she'll say to me, I'll say, well, what have you been thinking about today? Well, I wasn't thinking about anything when it happened, but yet I go through things that have come crashing in to us within the past few days. And she'll say, well, I wasn't thinking about any of that. You don't have to be. The body keeps the score. There could be a trigger in your environment that you don't even recognize. And my only help for her is to, well, what if when these things came on, you don't resist them, be upset that they're happening, and connect with the desperation of wanting the external God to take away, when the internal divinity is bringing up something in your health that says, hey, I need you to see me. I'm going through something. What if your heart center is trying to open and the doors you shut on it and hold it back like a hand holding back a dam of water is wanting you to embrace? What if we embraced our bodies and loved them just as they are, with all of their flaws, or why don't we call them all of their messages to us? The body keeps a score. Many times it's information coming through to try to say, I hear and accept your prayers. Here is the path to the answering of those. We've been programmed to think that it's like a crash of lightning that comes down. You ask, I on the surface level believe that it's happening, and then boom, external God comes in and crash, it's all better. When our divine source knows always what is best for us, and it knows the path to our purpose. It knows the path to our calling. So maybe we need to unlearn the ways we think the path should go and allow our divine creator of all to guide us down that path. And along the way, we learn every single thing there is in our path to be learned. And that maybe when we get to that destined place, because there's going to be many destined places along your path. You're not made for one thing, one purpose only. You are made to touch many lives for many years and many generations from this moment forward. What if we learn to accept all that and love ourselves for going through it all in a human way, not beat ourselves up for the ways we got it wrong? My last relapse saved my life. Best thing ever happened to me. Ever, ever, ever. Being a part of the LGBTQ plus community, best thing ever happened to me. I have such a passion and love to know both a feminine and masculine side of life when we all possess both. I am a blessed human being, regardless of if somebody outside is reading my current story. It doesn't matter. They cannot experience the same blessing that I experience every day of my life. And getting the unique opportunity to share it with beautiful souls like you on the same divine paths to who you are and the love of your beautiful self. Who is more blessed than I am? And if not for active addiction, trauma, sickness, death, I may not have the kind of passion that would open me up to really feel and connect with that type of gratitude every day. So love yourself. Every single thing about you, every part of your life, every path you've walked, rolled, skipped through, gone backwards down. This is all a part of your soul's path. Embrace it, love it, share it, show up every day in whatever mess you're in, knowing that it's all working together for your ultimate good and your soul purpose and your enlightenment. Ask your empowering questions. And the way you know how to do that is just flip a disempowering question in that very moment. You don't have to get it right all day, every day. If you flip one, you're working. You're doing the work. So I love you guys so much. I'm a little bit running over today by 7 minutes. Jimmy C, the man, the myth, the legend. So good to see you, man. The hardships and troubles of today are the tools that the master uses to prepare us for greater things tomorrow. Trust the process and stand on faith. Jimmy C, man. That's wisdom. That's wisdom. Anthony Brown says, nothing happens in God's world by mistake. More wisdom. It's amazing. So true. So true. And let's see. Janet McClanahan, good to see you. Sorry I didn't see you at the beginning. Mary Huffman, have an amazing day. Haley Moore, do you have one more minute? I'm not sure what her's asking me. So I don't know. I have a few more minutes. Or in life, can we ask the empowering question? Do I have one more minute? And how can I make the best of it? Man, guys, how long did we live so disempowered, thinking that we were destined to be addicted, that we were completely powerless and under the command of a drug, a drink, habit, another person. And we believed that so deeply that we got up and we walked through that every single day. I never want to feel that way again. And I never want to see another soul feeling that way. But what I know is there are beautiful human beings in this world every minute of every day that are feeling worthless, not worthy, that no one loves them, abandoned. And I think that what we together as a community and a collective can do is embrace those people and let them know that, hey man, I've walked in those shoes. And that there's a powerful path out. And it's not just one path. It's not just one path. I believe there's one collective path that is very wide that leads to healing. But I believe that it's many different roads coming together, moving in the same direction. So, Haley says, I relapsed after 4.5 years a couple months ago. But I just want to tell people it happens, but you don't have to live there, because now I have 6 more days clean. I got up, dusted off, and moved on. How beautiful is that? And thank you for your vulnerability and sharing that with all of us, Haley, because you know what? It does happen. It does happen. We're all in a path, man. We're all in these, we're all in our own life path. And it's going to be different things for different people that cause that awakening. And sometimes we have to awaken at different levels. There's awakening at every different level. There's always going to be something to come in and test your tools. Like Jimmy said, test your tools today for mastery tomorrow. And then tomorrow we'll have something else that come in to keep us better. There is no destination that we're attempting to get to. And having that in our minds is what ends up getting us so disappointed. We're always going to be working towards better. And that's okay, because we learn to make the trip joyful. We can learn to make the trip divine and joyful and trustworthy. And when we do that, we absolutely take our divine power back. I thought so, Haley. I thought that it was more than 6. It was 60. That sounds about right. Daniel Whiting has so many, he's come so far as well, just celebrating, one of his sober birthdays, so to speak, and new life path. So I say congratulations to every single person today, whether you've been clean for 30 minutes, 30 days, a year, 60 days, 300 days, or 30 years, man. I'm so grateful to be in such company with such amazing warriors, because you are the strongest people on earth. Don't ever let anybody's judgment of your past, present, or whatever take any of that from you. You are strong, and you got to believe that you are worth more than just surviving day to day, that you can learn to thrive in your life, love every single part of it, and every single part of you. Get to work on those subconscious belief systems. When you find that you are in a place where you feel blocked or can't seem to move any further forward, then don't just look at what more can you do. Go within and see what is the belief that keeps me from taking that next step. Don't be afraid. The shadow and the light live in one body, and we've got to embrace them both. And the more you light your life, the brighter the light, darkness cannot hide. So keep brightening your light with empowering questions. Make your search be for empowerment every day. Do things for you that bring you joy, not that bring you acceptance by others, but that bring you joy, however small. Make sure you're doing something. If you don't know what to do, begin the search today. Ask yourself, what can I do that will bring me great joy in this moment? Your search engine will start to show you results. Just be patient. I love you, love you, love you guys so much. Haley, thank you so much for your sharing. Yes, we do learn a lot about ourselves in the midst of relapse and recovery. I mean, it's a beautiful process. Hard, but beautiful, because we get to know who we are. So I love y'all so much. Thanks for hanging out with me. If you feel led, please share this video out. And, I'll see you again. I think I'm going to come back this Friday. I think I'm going to be on for Free Your Mind Friday, because I miss you guys. But I'm trying to make some extra time, which is hard for me right now, as I'm working almost constantly and dealing with a lot of things, in my life. Just know that you're always in my heart. I will always, always, always be around. And, if I don't see you Friday, I'll definitely see you next Wednesday. You guys, I love you so much. Have the most outstanding, amazing day you've ever had, because you choose to, and you do have that kind of power. I'll see you guys next time. I love you. Bye.